Hi everybody, this is Linda with Overwork Quilt Connection. Today is block 30, the last one in our series. This one is called Mother Hen, and it is just a lot of squares and rectangles put together. But let me show you kind of what I've been working on here. And you know what? I apologize for yesterday's video that a lot of it was cut off of that you couldn't see what I was working on. I hope that you were able to figure it out as I moved farther into the block, which fabrics I was using. As you can tell, I'm quite an amateur at this, doing these videos. So I apologize for that. So I'll try to do better today. That's all we can do, is try to do better. So this block has, you're kind of putting together rings again of different colors. It starts with this center, it eventually is a square, and I've kind of agonized over what fabrics to use. In this, there's not a tremendous amount of contrast between these two fabrics, but I love them together. I think they're pretty together. I tried it with the lightest pink, and there is more contrast there, but it makes it kind of blend in with the white to me, with the background that we use around the outer edge. And even though in person I can see that there's contrast there, I don't know, somehow I wasn't excited about it. I also tried it with a red square, which there definitely was a lot of contrast there, but then it kind of turned it into a red block, I felt. And since this is stitch pink, I just kept coming back to more pink. So this is what I'm going with, but I'm using this as an exercise in you figuring out what you like. Use combinations that you like, whether they're exactly like the pattern or not. It is your quilt to do with it as you wish. So, so anyhow, this is the combination that I'm going with. So we start by making this 3-row section here in the center. And so these squares are joined to the rectangles are joined to the center square, and the squares are joined to the rectangle here. These are pressed towards the center, these are pressed away from the center. We also piece these units, which is red, background red, and put them onto one of the medium. I'm going to go with light, medium, dark is what I'm going to refer to here. So light, so light to medium, light to dark. These are then dark, background dark, sewed onto medium. All right, then we're constructing these two outer rows that will go onto the top and bottom once this whole center band is completed. I have already pieced those together, but let me finish this center section so then it makes more sense. I'll be right back. I have the center put together now, and I'll go over some of the pressing. I did in the center, press towards the center. On the top and bottom, I press towards the dark. Then when I put these strips on, I pressed both of them toward the what would be the D band, which is the medium in this case. These seams here don't nest with anything, so I press them towards the dark. This is the center, how the center looks now. This square here, when you finish it, should be 6.5, because these are 6.5 that it, butts up against. All that's left then is these top and bottom rows. I pressed, in this case, I pressed both seams away from the dark because they're going to nest next to the pieces that I pressed towards these rectangles. Then my outside also was kind of, the pressing was due to how I pressed the next band. The outer ones, I pressed away from the background just because it was pressing towards the dark. Then I pressed both of the others towards the light. So then they will nestle here, the seams. All right, all that's left then is to combine these rows with the center. I'll do that and I'll be back to show you the finished block. Our block is finished, which means all of our blocks are finished. Pressing on this, when I joined these two rows together, I pressed towards the medium. And then when I joined them to the center section, I also pressed it towards the medium. So I hope seeing the back is helpful to you. But this is block 30 called Mother Hen, and it's done. I have seen the finishing instructions for the quilt, and you will need 8 strips 2.5 inches wide of the background, and so that's about 20 inches. So hopefully you have at least that much left of your background. If you don't, and you purchased your fabric through Overbrook Quilt Connection, contact Amy. She can get more of the background very easily. The binding, they also suggest that you bind it in pink. We did not, well, if you have enough left of the white and you want, or the background, and you want to bind it in the background, go ahead. We did not include the binding in our fat quarter packs because we hadn't even seen what the finishing was going to be. So at that point, if you need more pink for a binding, then contact Amy as well. I will do one more video that shows the finished quilt and gives you any tips that I might have for doing that finishing. So we'll see you back tomorrow. Thanks.